I want to be a good father. Like I really, really do. My father was, I feel like, better than his father, and his father was better than so-and-so. And I want to do that as well. I want to raise a strong man for my son and a beautiful daughter who's also strong. Like,
I'm pretty sure your daughter is stronger now than her older brother.
I woke up from her kicking me in the face at 5 o'clock this morning. Yeah. But like, man, give us some advice. Throw us a bone. We need some help here.
Horsemanship and raising children, both, is like holding a wet bar of soap.
Wait.
I suck at that. Hold on a second.
I hope there's more to this.
So if you squeeze it too tight,
Okay.
it's going to slip out of your hands.
Okay.
If you don't hold it tight enough, it's going to slip out of your hands. It's like everything else in life, it's balance. If you're too lenient, if you're too soft, you're going to raise a brat that's disrespectful to themselves and to the world around them. If you're too harsh, if you're too much of a disciplinarian, you're going to raise something totally different. So it's balance. They have to have the boundaries. There has to be clear set boundaries. Children get so much security. They know that's the boundary, and they know if they cross that line, this is the results of it. There's tremendous security in that. They don't have to wonder. But coupled with that, there has to be the love and the tenderness and the fun, that was my biggest mistakes as a father. I was a very strict disciplinarian. And when my daughters came along, and I have 4 beautiful, wonderful daughters, but the difficulty I had with that was I was raised with 3 sisters that I did not connect with. I didn't hang around with. And so when I had 4 daughters, it's like, I don't relate well to girls, to little girls. And so I wasn't the kind of father, that they deserved, that they should have had, as far as that fun, tender, comforting, strong. I was kind of like, Mama knows how to raise girls. I'll let Mama raise the girls, and I know how to raise boys. I'll raise the boys. So the boys was all about horses and cutting firewood and working and being a man, guns and shooting and all this stuff. And so my girls, they missed out on a lot growing up, and my boys got a lot that they wish they didn't get growing up. So it just comes down to balance. You got to balance the discipline, which has to be there, and the boundaries, which have to be there, but that has to be balanced with the fun and the joy of childhood. You can't take the one away from them, and you can't refuse to give them the other one. And so if I were to, in a nutshell, that's about as nutshelled as I can get right there.
I feel like it's good advice, though. It's hard to apply it sometimes when they're screaming in the van for 16 hours on the way to see Dewayne in Wyoming.
It's hard to be balanced.
It's hard to be balanced when you want to put them in your vehicle and drive off.
So be creative.
Okay.
All right. That is your greatest weapon and your greatest tool as a parent, is a creative sense of imagination and stepping outside the box when it comes to dealing with a new thing with your child. Because they don't know this isn't how everybody does it.
That's true.
Okay? So when my 2 oldest boys, when they were quite a bit younger, they were bickering and fussing a lot at one point, like boys do. And so Mama got all frustrated and like mamas do. And she brought them to Daddy, like mamas do. And I said, all right, go get me a roll of duct tape.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
And she's over saying, don't tell this story.
He's about to take him to the train station.
So I brought him, stood in front of him. I said, all right, I had enough of this. So they were facing me side by side, so I duct taped their wrists together on just one hand, not both hands, just one hand. All right. I said, so everything you boys do for the rest of the day, you got to work it out together.
Oh, so you tied them both together?
Yeah, I tied that duct tape so they're his right hand to his left hand. All right, so the rest of the day, you got to learn to communicate and work it out together.
How'd that go?
It was hilarious. They come to me about an hour later. One of them came to me and said, "Daddy, what? I got to go potty." I said, "Well, work it out." Yeah, and I mean, they're best buddies today. I mean, but it was unconventional. But look at your child. Your child is not in a book. All right, that's a child. That's not a character in a book. That's not a case study in a book. That's a human being with their own personality, their own thought process, their own likes, their own dislikes, their own fears, their own prides and everything. So fit it to that child. Whatever it is, and just be. Sometimes you got to step back. You got to say, you know what this child needs. This child just needs a day with Dad at the park, or this boy needs to go out there and dig about 4 post holes 3 foot deep. That's what he needs. Yep. But it's no different than working horses. My horses are all separate personalities, and when they have an issue, I've been sitting on the fence. I've been standing out there smoking a cigar, drinking coffee, watching my horses. So when a horse has an issue, I'm like, that particular horse, I know what that horse needs. And I'll just go out and deal with it, not according to what some book told me that a horse needs, but what my knowledge and experience with the individuality and the personality of that horse, that's what that horse needs. And I will go out and take care of that horse according to what that horse needs. Your children are no different. You can't treat them all the same. You can't say, well, Dr. Spock says this is what I'm supposed to do. That's a little tiny human being, but it's an individual. That's the only one out of 8 billion on the planet. That's the only one of that one right there. So what does that child need right now? Maybe that child needs a smack on the bottom. My kid's already grown. You can't put me in jail for that. All right. Or maybe he needs a hug. Maybe he needs tickled. Maybe that child's laying down there and crying, and maybe that you just go down and start tickling that child. Mm-hmm. Life has just got too heavy for his little 2-year-old brain. Bring the fun back into it. Or pull out your video camera. Little rascal's throwing a fit and getting down on the floor. Well, instead of being a hostage, what he's trying to do, I said, well, that's pretty interesting. Get your camera out and video him. Say, hey, can you scream that again? I didn't hear that time. I didn't get that. Oh, man, I think, okay, there it is. And after, he's going to get embarrassed every bit, and he's going to say, well, this didn't have the effect that I expected it to have. So I guess I just won't do this anymore. And it's successful parenting. It's just.
I love it.
It's funny, I've always, in seeing other parents identify when their kid is hungry, they'll say, oh no, he's just hungry, or she's just tired, or she needs this or that. I never understood how did they know that? Like, how do you understand that? And here we are, about a year in with our daughter, and we know very quickly. We know she's hungry, or we know she's tired, or we know that she did this or didn't do that or needs this. And when you spend time, I think with whether it's your children or whether it's a horse or whether it's just other people in your life, when you know them and you're invested in them as an individual, you can pick up on that.
Well, you pick up on that, but you need to have the wisdom to know that you don't have to give in to that immediately all the time.
Sure, yeah.
All right, if your child is hungry, and I don't mean, poor child starving. I mean, it's been 2 hours since they've eaten and they're hungry. They ain't going to die.
Right. What? You've seen my daughter. She could go.
She could go a while.
She could go a week.
She's a chunky monkey.
I love it.
But she thinks if she's got to go 2 hours, she's going to die.
So if you have an adult today that cannot tell their appetite no, they started out as a baby whose parent would not tell their appetite no for a short period of time. Mm-hmm. I'm hungry. I want to eat right now. Supper's in 20 minutes. You'll eat with the rest of us.
Or I want to eat that thing.
Yeah.
That maybe I shouldn't
I want
have.
a snack. I want a Pop-Tart. I want this. No.
I heard you and your son talking about Pop-Tarts today.
No, I want a Pop-Tart. Thanks, Dewayne. Do we have Pop-Tarts?
I think he's actually had this argument with his son.
We've had this conversation
did
before.
You?
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's an adult who has physical control is raised as a child who was taught physical control. We give them everything just to stop their whining. Well, you teach them to be a whiny adult to get what they want, because they want everything. And it's like, no, you'll be all right. You know, our kids, whatever mama made for supper, that was supper. I don't want pinto beans. Well, then don't eat the pinto beans. I want macaroni and cheese. No, we're having pinto beans, but I don't want pinto beans. Then don't eat the pinto beans. You can go play.
Self-discipline is what is that?
Guess what they're having for breakfast tomorrow morning?
Pinto beans.
Pinto beans.
Yep.
You know, and so after a while, they're like, well, going through life, expecting life to give me everything I want, that doesn't work out very well. And being thankful, because by the time they get hungry enough, they're going to be thankful for those pinto beans. And learning to be thankful for what's put in front of you as an adult is taught as a child by parents who have the courage to be the bad guy. I know you don't like me right now. I know you're mad at me right now, but it's good for you.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip. If you want to see the full podcast, be sure to click on the link in the description. And if you feel like it, hit subscribe.